Welcome to the lunch break, your bi-weekly bento box of black perspective, streaming to viewers live on YouTube and Twitter. I'm your host, Jay, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Keith. And Black Ice, the Black Narrative.
They finally got their name right today. Congrats.
We got a signal. We practiced.
Good. Everyone, today's episode will be slightly different as we will be joined by the one and only Marcel Dixon, who ran for U.S. House to represent South Carolina's 6th Congressional District. Everyone put your hands together for Marcel Dixon.
All right.
Hey, Marcel, thank you for joining the broadcast today. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and thank you for having me back.
Great. All right, we're going to get right into it. Let's get some back. All right, so for the first topic is about being on code. All right, so the USA often uses the homosexual black community to attack black people as a whole. Many people on both sides believe that black empowerment and homosexuality cannot coexist. Marcel, as someone who is homosexually staunchly stomped down and uncompromisingly black and proud, can you explain how these two can coexist? And I really think it's important because a lot of people get it confused and they think you have to be one or the other.
It's only confusing for people who are coons. And I have never identified as being LGBTQ. Like, that's just letters on the alphabet for me. It was I never, ever had any misconception about how the world views me and how I view myself. Nothing I do when my culture is from the LGBTQ. Everything I did in my culture, from the different rice dishes, from the ring shout, from the blue bottle trees, from root, from the language that I speak, the words that we have, that's Gullah Geechee. All of those things were from me being a freeman, a descendant of people who were enslaved by the American government. I think what happens, a lot of our people, in the black community, the black American community, some of them have experienced mistreatment because of being LGBTQ or appearing to be LGBTQ, and because they associate that with the community as a whole, and then they start to make their black identity secondary, and they start to identify more with the LGBTQ because they feel that's where they're more accepted, because they don't get sometimes the insulting comments or they're treated in a degrading manner by people who are of their same sexual orientation. But that's also something we'll get to later in this interview.
So you're saying that basically people that it's like a coon origin story. They get ostracized for something they feel like makes them feel different.
Right.
And then they move to that community. It's like anime, black people that watch anime, they watch Dragon Ball. Black dude runs up to him and say, "Oh, you nerdy ass nigga."
And all of a sudden,
right. Then they go hang out with Asians. They're permanent hair.
Exactly.
They don't like black people.
Well, okay, it's like the black girl who may have ran into a coon and she's a beautiful dark-skinned woman, but the guy might say something I don't really date black women, or you're beautiful, but I just don't like dark-skinned black women. Then all of a sudden, all black men have an issue with colorism. It's that type of stuff. Or they get bit by the radioactive coon, and then they can climb walls. They have super hearing, and everywhere you turn, they're there. So that's what happens. And I want to talk about that. These same people, though, they have this incredible ability to forgive white people for everything.
Right.
You can believe that they grew up finding out about seeing the postcards with our people hanging from trees, okay, and our people being skinned alive. They know about the fact that a lot of us are living in poverty because of the federal government doing Jim Crow, redlining, land theft, destroying our black Wall Streets, and somehow they forgive all of that. But a black person, maybe a few black people, say something ignorant or treats them in a manner that was despicable, and now all of a sudden, every black person's awful. I must disown my blackness or put my blackness in a secondary or tertiary position, and now I'm going to identify with this other group. It's really just an excuse to coon. Because I can tell you, growing up, I had plenty of awful, degrading, I guess people say homophobic things said and done to me that were awful, but the people who did that were wrong. Okay, they did it. The black community didn't do it. It was just idiots who happened to be black. And because most black Americans grow up and live around and spend most of their time around other black Americans, the people who were most likely to do things to me that were awful are going to be black. But on the other side, the people who were the most compassionate, most accepting, most protective of me, most loving were black as well. And these people always forget that side of the story. And they're not going to tell me that side of the story doesn't exist. Every gay black person I knew, especially if they're black American, had a cousin or cousins who was like, I don't give a damn how he or she is. You ain't going to mess with my cousin. So they forget about that side of the story. And all we got to hear about is how black people are so awful. Yet they will go around white people who calls them slaves and wants to defecate on them, all this disgusting stuff. And they let them do it, by the way. And yet they can forgive all of that. So I don't buy the sob stories. I don't accept it.
And that's a good point. How they have the ability to forgive the people that are really causing our community harm, but they're just like perpetuating white supremacy. That let's paint all black people with a broad brush. And I also think it goes back to the parenting as well, because we joke in our community. I went to school with Payless shoes on one day. I got made fun of so hard. And I didn't run from the black community. I learned how to joke back. But it's also because I had a very authentic black American upbringing, and I know we snap, you know?
You hear that? That means he been roasted his whole life.
I mean, I've gotten roasted before. Like one time I was tired of waiting for my brother to cut my hair. So I tried to cut my own hair, and I don't know, I must have used two different guards. And I went to school, and the kids roasted me. Now, the good news is the first girl that saw it, though, she was like, who cut your hair? She was like, put a hat on. She was trying to find me a hat. By the time she found the hat, someone else saw it, and it was too late. But the thing is, though, it could have been hurtful. I didn't take that as being hurtful. I know that being teased about how a person of this sexual orientation is a different matter, because there are people who, there are those exceptions where some people have been victims of violence. I myself never experienced that. I mean, I did experience, like my father said, very degrading, very hurtful things that did psychologically scar me. To this day, I am. But I never once took that out on the black community. I never once said my father is the face of the black community, because even though my father was being a jerk, my uncles, my older male cousins, my grandfather, all of them thought the world of me and never treated me any differently. So I can't speak for everyone's experience. But what I can say is that a lot of times these people are just coons and they want a reason to coon. Or they are just people who are traumatized, and somehow the black community is responsible for all their trauma and not that individual. Yet, if you say anything bad about the LGBTQ community, these people will jump on you. I can tell you a lot of gay people, black gays I'm speaking about, are nasty, are mean, are very prone to starting drama and conflict, which is one of the reasons why I have always avoided the quote-unquote gay scene, like gay clubs and stuff like that, because there's always a lot of conflict, it's always a lot of violence, and this is actually research supported. This is not black gays, this is just gays, LGBTQ in general. The men or man with man relationships tend to have much higher levels of violence than man or woman relationships, but because we are a small fraction of couples, it doesn't get a lot of attention. But I will never say that's all LGBTQ people. But if you say that around these people who think they're LGBTQ first, they will jump all over you. Yet they have no problems blinking in the black community by the actions of 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 people. So it's a double standard.
I have it's a serious question, but this is like even more serious, and I hope you don't get offended by it, but
no, I don't.
Who's more sassier, a gay black man or a black woman?
The men are. Because usually the women are, I guess, and I don't use this terminology, but studs usually try to overcompensate for the fact that they are a woman by being as masculine as they can be. Whereas if a man is gay and he's what people would consider effeminate, he usually overcompensates with that by being what they call a full-blown queen. And so sometimes, so it's the men by far.
All right,
But
that's a great conversation. Akis or Black Ice, you got any questions?
Yeah,
No, well, go ahead, man.
yeah, you bring up some really good points as far as the Black LGBT community just using it as an opportunity to coon, because when you look across different groups of people, that kind of vitriol against people that are homosexual is seen across the whole entire world. So I'm kind of wondering, how can we kind of call out the fact that they are using this as an opportunity to go against whatever blackness, whatever they have wrong with blackness, and use it as an opportunity to coon. Because in the media you see the a lot of pushing of the LGBT agenda and everything. So how do we mend this kind of war between the LGBT Black community and the Be First community?
By understanding that coons exist in all communities. The difference is, though, a lot of coons, even though some of them get the spot, like a Roland Martin, for example, Roland Martian, as I call him. But a lot of coons are just people you see I don't consider coons people, but for the sake of this discussion, they're just individuals you see every single day. You see them at the store, you see them at the movie cinema. They don't matter to anyone, right? But however, with people in the LGBTQ community, they are, like you said, are part of a community that is pushing an agenda. And even though I don't like this guy, Herschel Walker's son, Chris Walker, talk about sassy. Once of all, here's how you can measure the level of sassiness in the LGBTQ community. If a Black guy is going around doing cartwheels and can do full-blown splits, sassiness is off the meter. So that's how you can't contend with their sassiness. And every time you see them, they have a Starbucks drink. That's like top-notch sassiness. Like, even I can't compete with that. So Christian Walker, though, to his point, though, he says something that was really true. He was like, I sleep with men, but don't ever say I'm LGBTQ. I'm going to be a part of a community that is trying to drag queens story times for cameras and trying to do classes about self-pleasuring and this crazy stuff. So when you meet a Black person, though, who is willing to promote those things, of course they're going to be given a platform. And I want to say this, though. I do feel this spirit to say this. Most gay Black men or bisexual Black men that I know, I met plenty, are not. They are usually just as on code as heterosexual counterparts. But the ones that are coons, they are given that platform, just like in the heterosexual community. The same way you got coons who are always allowed to go on television and speak for us, but they're really not speaking for us. The same thing happens with the LGBT community. And the number one thing, you gotta call it out. Don't be afraid of people calling you homophobic. I've been called homophobic, and I'm definitely gay. And people say that about me. Don't fall for those shaming tactics. Okay, if we fall for that, we won't be allowed to say anything. When I say that the American government owes us reparations, some people tell me, oh, you're anti-white. I didn't say a thing about white people. Those are all called shaming tactics. You cannot shame me. In America, a country that has had no shame when it comes to abusing, mistreating, and terrorizing Black people. So when America finally feels shame about not paying us reparations, and they finally pay us, then maybe I'll consider feeling shame about calling out coonery among any community. A Black person who is Muslim, Catholic, LGBTQ, all of the above. We have to call it out. No one should be exempt. A Black woman should not be exempt from being called out her coonery. A Black man should not be exempt. A Black person who considers himself LGBTQ should not be exempt. That's how we call it out. Name and shame.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful point. It's basically a lot of Black people are trying to find which way they intersect with the dominant society Some people intersect on a political philosophy. Some might intersect based on a sexual preference, but they're trying to find that way to find that commonality or build rapport with the dominant society to kind of be like, well, don't whip on me. I'm one of the good Negroes, and they kind of way up into that club.
It's more to it than that too. Also, I've had people who are gay and who are on code, who are reparationists. They will write me and say, why do you act like you don't see or hear the homophobic things that some of our people who are for reparations say? Because I don't give a damn. I really don't give a damn. I hear people say a lot of ignorant stuff. I hear people make fun of people who are overweight. I hear people say things that are sexist. I hear people say things that reeks of misandry. I hear people say a lot of things in which I do not agree. I am not here to fight every single battle. Like I tell people, I'm not here to solve the problem of racism. I'm here to make sure we get the reparations we're owed. That applies in every subject. I'm not here to deal with body shaming. I'm not here to deal with homophobia. I'm not here to deal with misandry. I'm not here to deal with misogyny. I am here to stay focused on reparations. So I tell them that some of them don't like it, but you see, I'm not going to make an exception for homophobia. Those things, do I condone those things? No. But do you see a red cape and a red S on my chest? No. I am here for reparations. I'm not going to go down every rabbit hole that you dig for me. And I also say to people, when sometimes they'll screenshot comments or they'll take an audio clip and send it to me and say, you were right there. You didn't say nothing. No, I didn't. Because I don't give a damn. I've had people tell me who are for reparations, I'm going to go to hell. It didn't bother me. I said, just make sure you donate to me. And that's it. Like, just donate. There's my campaign. Like, I don't care. I'm not saying it's okay. But what I find funny is when they do that, even then, they're making my point for me. It's not even a majority of our people saying these type of things or being this way. It's a small minority. Why do you want me to condemn the majority or scold the majority for what a small minority is doing? People are jerks. People are going to be jerks. Deal with that. But don't dare try to conflate the reparations movement with homophobia because it's just not true.
This is what I like about Marcel. We got to move on to the next topic. But what I like about Marcel is he'll bring everything back to reparations. We talk about astrophysics. I love astrophysics, and they need to use quantum mechanics to bring my reparations. I love that. Marcel, don't play about his reparations. All right, well, we're gonna have a slice of pie right now. In recent news, or in a current culture, Black culture, we're seeing a bifurcation, right? And the question I have is, are we delineating ourselves out of a healthy dialogue? And I'm going to pass to Akis to explain that further.
So this is a really kind of interesting topic for me. First off, I would say growing up in the Hebrew Israelite community, we kind of have a different way of viewing the Black diaspora. You have, of course, the diaspora from Africa, from the continent, and then you have those that are descended from the transatlantic slave trade. You know, not to kind of separate ourselves from our brothers and sisters on the continent, but to kind of look into the frame in which I've kind of grown up viewing the Black experience. And you know, I'm born and raised in Georgia, and growing up, the first time I ever left the Deep South was maybe when I was about 15, going to New York. And I never actually had the chance to leave. Yeah, I never had the chance to leave the United States. But I have a Caribbean background. So even though I have an American accent, you know, I don't speak patois. I still have that kind of Caribbean background and interact with a lot of Caribbean people. And of late, I've been noticing that there's been a large rift within the Black community, of course, with, you know, and we got coons on all sides, you know, within and outside of the FBA community. But I've noticed of late that some people take things to a kind of an extreme point when it comes to the cooning, and I guess
I'm talking about me.
No.
I'm definitely the extremist.
No. But when I say as far as because a lot of our people, in the islands, in South America, in these different places, do coon. Oftentimes, what occurs is people take their experiences with people from these places and kind of blow it up so that anybody that's descended from these places has that kind of stigma to them. Now, I might my people might have been enslaved in the West Indies, but I still have that commonality with the FBA as far as being a descendant of slaves. We're both enslaved by the Anglo-Saxons as well, and I have an English last name from slavery as well. So there's a lot of different things that we kind of have a similarity on, as far as all Black folk that are descended from the transatlantic slave trade. So my question to you, Mr. Marcel Dixon, is how do we kind of mend this relationship between the FBA and the non-FBA and try to kind of quell this back and forth that's been going on?
And Marcel, before you answer that, I want to ask you, how does it feel to be asked a question by a mummy? Is this the second time it's
I
happened?
imagine it's the first.
It's a little weird, but that's okay. Maybe think a Hollow Man. I don't like seriously. This looks like a Hollow Man outfit, but no, it's okay. It's cool. So, at least, one thing you're seeing, and I'm glad it's finally being recognized, is Black American rage. One thing that makes me mad as hell is when I turn on the news and you hear them talking about the rage of the white working class. White people are mad? What? Why? Tell me as a group, what do white Americans have to be upset about? Okay, yeah, they could be upset about the fact that politicians suck, but even then, white people are usually the group that everyone's going to think about not wanting to take off. Who has more reasons to be enraged than a Black American, a descendant of American slaves? Now people are realizing our rage. And it's really, sometimes it's coming out. And look, sometimes when you are fighting for your life, you want to take a few swings, may hit some people that are just trying to break the fight up or rival on your side. That's going to happen. But I don't think that's happening for the most part. I think we are delineating ourselves out of abusive relationships. Here's what has happened. Historically, Black immigrants and their descendants have looked like us, talked like us, have our mannerisms, eat the same foods as us even, and then you go to their home and you hear their mother has a different accent. You're like, where is she from? Like, oh, you didn't know I'm from, my parents are Afro, my parents are Cuban. And you think, oh, I thought this was Black American. No. Now, what has happened is, I can give you dates. Black Americans, we went to Ethiopia to fight against the Italians that were invading them. At that same time, we were going through race massacres in America. We still went over and helped them fight against the Italians. We helped stop apartheid in South Africa by putting pressure on the U.S. government to sanction it, which the United Nations then pretty much encouraged other nations to do the same. We helped stop the invasion of Mozambique and Angola. Some of the first independence fighters of the African continent were educated in HBCUs. Instead, that was because of the fighting spirit of Black Americans that motivated them to continue fighting. When they tried to invade Haiti, Black soldiers could have really been charged with mutiny. They said we were not going to participate. Like, we've been good brothers and sisters to the diaspora and to the people of the African continent. When has that ever been returned to us? So now in America, you can Google this and find proof. We just had an example of this with Otham Dean, who was murdered in Texas by that Dollar Tree Virgin Barbie doll who shot and killed him in his apartment. His parents have now started a scholarship for Black people. No. Caribbean Americans. Now, you go and look up Black American scholarships, it's going to be for anyone Black. but you can find scholarships for Cuban Americans, Jamaican Americans, and I know because I tried to get one for my mother, and I got to the bottom, it said Jamaican Americans only. But when we do things, it's for everyone. You can go and Google organizations for Asian Americans, Bahamian Americans. Like Miami alone has at least 15 Bahamian American organizations. But when Black Americans, the Central American slaves, we just do it, we say Black for everyone. So we are now saying, okay, you know what? Everyone does things for their own group. That's cool. So now we're doing the same. And now that we're doing the same, people are saying, oh, y'all being divisive. No, we're not. We're not being divisive. We're being self-interested first. It's the first rule of nature is self-preservation, where everyone's been saying that rule except the Black Americans, and now we are. Now, that doesn't mean you have to work against other groups, because I'm running for office. My platform is Repair Black Americans and Fix America. So obviously I have platforms for all Americans, but first and foremost, I'm gonna look out for my own people. White people do it all the time, you know, I say nothing. So we should do it, and that's what I think is happening.
Okay, yeah, I definitely do agree with the point as far as, you know, definitely having Black Americans be able to build a more of an infrastructure for themselves, as far as, you know, scholarships and of course reparations and all these different things. I feel where sometimes the conversation gets conflated or gets, you know, a bit diluted is when, you know, that kind of which, you know, rightfully so, that rage against, you know, people from different places starts to seep into other things. Like, for instance, me, you know, being Caribbean, the way I see it is I'm Black first. I'm really not into nationalities like that, as far as American, Jamaican, all these different places. I view myself as just Black first. And yet, if you know, some people get a bit too far when it comes to being upset with the rest of the diaspora, to the point where you could be saying certain points that are, you know, pro-Black and everything, but because, you know, you are, in my case, Caribbean, or what, you know, people would call a tether, already there's that wall kind of built up, you know, socially, so that we're not able to work together as efficiently to fulfill the goals of, I guess, Blacks across the diaspora, but, you know, also within America as well. So sometimes I feel like there's a breakdown of communication that's going on, and of course, you know, somebody like you would know where that line kind of ends, but some people don't know where that balance
Exactly.
is. Right.
It depends on whom you speak with. And that's what I think. Like the word tether, some people are taking it out of context and using it to describe any person who's not a freedman background. But no, tether really just means a person who's not a freedman or a foundational Black American who is a coon. It's like you're just a Black person from another place that's a coon. If you're a Black American or foundational Black American or freedman, you are just a coon. So no, I think what has happened, I think I'm going to need, because I hear this before, what I say is to all of my Black immigrants who are on code and their children, I need them to talk to their people and say, okay, if you are, to get them to be Black first. If you're Black first, why are you up in Black America saying, oh, this scholarship is only for Afro-Cubans, or you are putting your Cuban identity first? Like a lot of Afro-Latinos, they like to talk about, oh, we Black too. Okay. No, you're not. Because you put your Latinidad first. You're out there talking about you want illegal immigrants to get citizenship because some of your relatives are in the country illegally. That's going to hurt the freedmen community, the Black American community. So in that case, you're not being Black first. You're putting Black last and your immigrants as first. And that does happen. And that's why even when, like me being LGBTQ, people sometimes say, oh, are you going to put another identity first? Because that is what happens sometimes with Black people who are not Black Americans. They put other identities first, and then their loyalty ends up with the other identity, not the Black identity, which in America means Black American freedom.
So I gotta ask, do you feel like there's a danger of us perpetuating tribalism throughout this. And because right now we have a lot of, the internet allows everybody to talk, and there's a lot of, in my opinion, a lot of village idiots talking. And to Akis's point, it's like they don't know what that line is. And one of my fears is Black Americans in our rightful anger. We have every right to be angry. We have every right to be upset with all these people that want to step on our backs to grab, you know, some pennies or some crumbs off the table. We have every right. But what we should not do is create our own form of tribalism, because tribalism is how we got conquered in the first place, from not being able to work together. So do you think that's a fear, a realistic fear? Because a lot of people are expressing that. They might not say it in that way, but they're like, hey, Black Americans are creating a tribe and pushing everybody out.
I think what we're pushing out the coons and we're pushing out the others who should have been pushed out a long time ago. You see, the problem with Black American society, Freeman, is we never had a time when we said we're going to purge the coons. I heard about the history of Haiti. And one of the things the Haitians did, anyone that was not participating in the revolution, the Haitians killed. Like, no coons won't be around, okay? Black Americans, we never did that. So the coons were allowed to grow alongside us, live alongside us, and work against us, which they did. So we're pushing out the coons and the tethers. Now, yes, I think with any movement, there are going to be people who are going to take things to maybe a point where it's harmful to the movement. And some people are not going to have the right narrative. They have good intentions, they have good motives, but their narrative is off. But we have to be wise enough to realize, okay, maybe this person is off. Let me investigate for myself what this is really about. That's why I've been encouraging all of us, including Black immigrants who say they are on code with us, to run for office. Because when you run for office, you really got to put what you stand for out there. Whatever you stand for, popular, unpopular, it's going to be out there. I run for office, and everybody knows my stance on things, whether it's popular or not. But I think Black Americans, we've worked with other groups for centuries and have never gotten that cooperation in return. I think it's time for other groups to say to us, hey, we want to work on your behalf. And instead of coming to you saying, hey, you're delineating and you're probably going to cut out allies, let me come to you with some tangibles, with some specific action I've done on your behalf. And I want you to see this and see that I'm working on your behalf. And then we will gladly welcome that person in as an ally. I think that has to happen now. Vetting has really been up. The ante has been up with the vetting process, and it should have happened a long time ago.
And that's a great point, because you see this with Pan-Africans. Like, Pan-Africanism is taking a huge L in all of this. And what you see a lot of Pan-Africanists say is, well, Black Americans, you can't do this and you can't do that. It's like, when are you going to talk to the Africans?
Exactly.
Pan-Africanism is dead if Africans don't love Africa. If they're not fighting for Africa, what the hell are you asking me to do? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we were getting that debate earlier today. It has to be both sided. Crypto Key, who look like a fitness model over here, he said he feel like it's one-sided. It's true. It is one-sided. It's been one-sided for way too long. So once again, the energy, the fire, if you're good intention or well-intentioned and you're not a Black American, you should understand this fire, and you should be regulating your community and letting people know, like, hey man, you cooning. You need to ostracize your coons just like we ostracize our coons. And once we do that, you know, we'll be in a healthier space. But if people want to feel like they're going to take up for their coons because they have the same ethnicity, then you got to take this heat with the coons that you're protecting.
There definitely thoughts on that? There definitely needs to be a conversation across the aisle, and there needs to be and for anybody listening that's non-FBA, any Black non-FBA people listening, there has to be reaching out. We got to definitely reach out to Black Americans and have that conversation, and have that aid to come across in order for it to be mutual. But another point I feel needs to be honed in on as well is I believe the culture of cooning is so prevalent amongst blacks across the world. And people like us, people that are B1, are a minority in any community. Now, you might have more powerful hitters in different places, but we definitely are a minority overall. So we definitely need to keep in mind that cooning is very much so prevalent, and it's a war, against all coons, whether they're from America, the Caribbean, South America, Africa. We got to figure out a way to stomp out this cooning culture that has been embedded in us through all these years.
But Keith, to a point, if I go to Nigeria and I start talking against the Yoruba and the Igbo and I get in that, they're gonna chop my head off. Yeah. So we've let people come here and talk against our interests, and we've been letting it happen. So we've been too lax about it. So it's like kind of bringing that energy. But at the end of the day, not to harp on the topic, but basically everybody needs to start regulating their own coons. And when we're in another black person's land, we need to respect their land and not try to sabotage them. When you go to another black man's struggle and then you're working with his enemy to destabilize him, then what you really deserve is something I can't say on YouTube, but you deserve what every ruler does when they take power. Like they said in Haley, people deserve something similar to that. I'm gonna end this segment on what Crypto Key is saying. Shamar Moore says, because those tethers from other places insert them into real black situations. Doesn't matter where you're from. If you have a B1 mindset, the goal is in line. That is absolutely true. Crypto Key. And $1 Billion Smile had one comment that I want to touch back on. He said, I would like deeper clarity on the code. How many of them? Because from what I can interpret, the code is just not publicly dogpiling another black man or talking points from outside your influence. If anyone wants to touch on this, you can. I just wanted to say the code is the agenda. And if you are a black person that's against the agenda, you do need to be dogpiled on. You need to be dogpiled on, and you need to be taken out to the trash. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
No, but I see what he was. I see what he was saying though. He didn't say don't dogpile him. He said just don't dogpile outside of the community. And I guess a good example of that would be I guess Tariq been on the press run lately, right? He be on the different platforms. And I noticed like sometimes the interviewer might ask a legit question, maybe about coons within our community, but he want to address them on their platform, which I had to give him credit for that. That's something you keep in house. So I think that what Crypto Key is saying, like, I don't think he's saying you shouldn't dogpile on them at all. Like, this where you do it. Because something you do these things in house.
Right, keeping things in house.
All right, cool. Well, we're gonna delineate onto the next segment. All right, so it's 2035. Black Americans get reparations. Black Eyes?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I guess I can just step in. I believe, one thing that Marcel and I can agree on that we do deserve reparations. Totally agree with that part. I do believe one day we will get it. I do disagree with how we're going to get it. I read through Marcel's plan. Now, what I will say about Marcel's plan, I did like his plan a lot better than the California Reparations Task Force by far, because the report they released 2 months ago. From what I've been reading lately, for all summer long, they're not asking for money. They're asking for programs and asking for integration, which to me is not reparations at all. I do like the fact that Marcel's plan does put a dollar figure on it, which is good. I like the way, and not only he just put a figure on it. I don't know if y'all been to his website and actually been through it. He has a formula of how you get that number. So I will give him props on that. But what I do disagree with him, though, I feel like the one flaw between Marcel and the California task force, I think they had the same flaw within their plans. I feel like, you're not asking for power, within it all. Okay, it's one thing asking for money, but to me, we don't need this money alone. We need the power that comes with it. And then I don't believe in I don't think we can have we can't have reparations without separation. You know, because we know, I don't think we can vote ourselves out of oppression. So that's my view on it.
You don't ask for power, you demand it. And reparations is how we get power. The only thing that keeps Black Americans from power is the fact that we don't have resources we are owed. And we're not asking for reparations either. We're demanding it. And we're going to get it. We're definitely going to get it before 2035. Okay? And another thing is, I'm gonna bet you don't follow me off because I'm a big separationist. My plan is reparations, deportations, protections, delineation, separation, elimination. The separation is a big part of the platform. And in my plan, actually,
Hey Marcel, I don't want to stop you, but can you see if like maybe turning your video off, because you're really skipping right now, and this is really good points.
Oh yeah.
Can you see if taking your video off will make you better? At the bottom, it should show you the ability to turn your video off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's
see if it sounds smoother.
Okay.
Can you keep it off and talk and see if it helps?
Sure. Give me 1 second.
Black Ice, you about to get this work, man. I gotta have it with no static. You about to get this work. When you were saying that, I was like, yeah, we can hear you. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try it one more time. Okay. I was saying, let's start from the beginning. I was saying, this good? You good?
No, it's still
It's
skipping.
still kind of choppy.
It's very choppy.
Okay. I was saying, you don't ask for power, you demand it. Okay? The thing that keeps Black Americans from getting power is the fact that we have reparations. Like reparations, because when we get it, we're having reparations, know that we're going to have the power.
Hey Marcel,
so
it sounded really bad. I think the white man's trying to get your internet.
Well,
I want you to get Black Ice. You need to get this heat. If it's
no, I was about to say I agree. I'm glad that he mentioned this. He said he's a separationist, because that part I did not know about Marcel, which I do agree with. Mm-hmm. But I do want to
finish. We gotta let him finish. You gotta get all the work. Okay, let's see if it's working.
I'm gonna try this again. Y'all know who's district in? Is it still wobbly?
Yeah, it's messed it up. You want to try to drop off and drop back on real quick?
Okay, hold on. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. Yeah, so he said he was a separationist, which is something new that you heard about. What are your thoughts on that, Black Ice, while we're waiting?
I totally agree, because it's funny that you said that, because I just read an article yesterday about the secret meeting that Malcolm X had with the Ku Klux Klan. Mm-hmm. And that's the point he wanted to make to them, because he was like, yo, y'all keep saying segregation. Like, no, I want separation.
Yeah.
And one thing I agree with Malcolm on, when he said separation, he promoted his own nation. And that's, I believe. So I want to get Marcel's definition of separation. Like, do you mean separation is in our own nation? Or you mean separation, or are we still under the U.S. government?
It's good, y'all.
It's kind of better. Let's just try to go. We need your wisdom. Keith says the mailman is trying to stop Marcel Dixon from speaking facts. Yes, he is. He's about to drop these truth bombs. But yeah, I also feel that same way. Like, that's why Pan-Africanism needs to be the ultimate goal. All right, Marcel's back.
Okay, so how's this?
I'm not sure what is going on with the connection.
Well, it's storming in my area, so that has nothing to do with it. It's just a bad way, but it's really coming down. You probably can't hear it.
Yeah, so let's try one more time. Let's see with the camera off. Let's see if
Let me disconnect real quick and come back on from the internet. Hold on.
Okay,
Perfect.
sounds good. And just for you all that don't know, typically a lot of internet connections, there's a congestion point. It's either in the neighborhood at your node, or it's at your carrier.
I thought he borrowed your American Online disc and it ran out of hours. I mean, I don't know.
American Online's a software. I'm talking about the hardware side.
I understand you try to clean it up, but I mean, dial-up is dial-up. All right, dial-up is dial-up in 2022, Jay.
Man, clean up your hair, man. You need to go get that edge. You need to get that trim. Hey.
I need the FBA hairline.
That would have went a long time ago, bro. You got no hairline.
With the body out, with the body chalk outline.
Oh, you got a chance of a George Jefferson FBA hairline.
Yeah, see, you're talking with the cap on right now.
I'm repping X. All right,
Marcel's
back. It sounds better now. Okay. Everybody be quiet.
I don't know how long it's going to last. The internet's bad here. James Clyburn. That's all too. So anyway, no, I was saying that. Well, like I said, you don't ask for power. You demand it. He's never going to give you power. Okay, but the federal government, they do need our votes, okay? And the political parties know they need our votes, and that's what we're going to leverage. But not just that, I'm running for office like I'm encouraging most of us to do so we can get the power, because we're not going to get reparations without that. Once we get reparations, we're going to do what we have historically done. We're going to naturally separate. After the Civil War, when we had our 40 acres and a mule for a short bit of time, Black Americans said we did not want to be around white Americans. And even during Reconstruction, we built Black Wall Streets. We weren't trying to be around white people. We would come to our neighborhood, okay, and completely destroy them. So separation is going to naturally happen, and that's something I completely support, because I'm a big separationist.
Yeah. And that's one thing. You said the only way we can get it is through the leverage in voting, and that's what I disagree on, because I feel like, we know the government lied to us all the time. They had a history of lying to us. They got a history of breaking contracts, and I feel like the reason why we haven't received reparations and everybody else has except us, because we never had leverage. We didn't have some type of power to make them, because, like, to my knowledge, throughout history, every time you had the dominant society, like white supremacy, to make them bow down to something, we had to force them to do it. And I feel like the only way we get our power back is the same way they took it, which is by force, not through the voting system. Because to me, you're still using the system. Now, as far as, in the past, like, to your point, because, like, I just visited Tulsa, and talked to the people there, and the history of Black Wall Street, and like I say, we had them in other places like Rosewood and other places as well. But to me, we saw what happened there. To me, that wasn't true separation, because you were still under the American system. And so you saw what happened when they had their own money, being on that same system. What happened? They got violent, and then they destroyed them. So it wasn't really to me, a true separation to me is governing our own selves. So one thing I can say about these Jewish people over there in Palestine, right? They didn't just get money, they got their own nation. And that's what it's going to take for us. So I don't believe that we can get a US dollar and still be on their system and still have our freedom that we want. I don't think they can coincide like that, in my personal opinion.
I will say this. We do have a homeland, Black Americans, right here. This is only right here. And I will say this. The American South, where I encourage all of us to return to, especially Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and Maryland, states where we are already 30% and above of the population, we need to have a region where we have control. Third thing, you have to remember, one of the reasons why both parties in reality wanted to keep Black Americans from having full voting rights is because they knew once we had a say in who gets what seat, they knew we would have the opportunity to put people that are on code in office. What we've been doing with our votes is stupidity. We've been putting vote blue no matter who in office, and they've been giving us their behinds to kiss while giving Ukrainians and Afghani refugees and illegal immigrants, LGBTQ, ABC3, whatever, giving them all the policies. What we need to do is use our votes more wisely. Now, that's why I'm running. If I had enough people in my district that knew about me, like my platform, which is it takes time, and they voted me to Congress, where it will make a huge difference. And I'm just one person. Now imagine if throughout the whole nation, we started getting our people on code, and they voted for several of us on code to get to Congress. That right there will give us the power we need to push legislation through. Don't say it doesn't work that way. It works that way for every other group. It only doesn't work that way for us because no one ever does policies for us, and we don't demand them to do so. So instead of us trying to get policies from them, I am running on a platform that we all need to have where we run to replace them. And separation, I agree. We definitely need to have a force to protect what's ours. Black Americans make up more than our share of the population in the military. We have a lot of veterans. We have a lot of people with military experience. We have a lot of people who just got those hands, men and women. We can definitely protect now what we have. I encourage us all to be well armed and to be well trained. If we weren't about that life, we will be exterminated right now. The fact that we're still here shows that we'll be just fine once we get what we're owed and we build our own.
Yeah,
and also when we talk about like separation and the black guys, you could sign paperwork and say Black America is its own nation, but that's not going to stop them from coming across the train tracks with guns. There's nothing that's the thing that stops Israel from being attacked is that they're like, we need Israel. It's a strategic thing. If we have our own land, our own territory, we're still going to get attacked. We have to be willing to defend it at all odds, and we need to stomp out any collaborators with our enemies. Yeah. That's another thing. We be having collaborators all up in the mix, all chilling around, and we got to take them to the trash can. So, any parting thoughts? We had you for a long time, Marcel. I don't want to hold up any more of your time. Take up any more of your time.
Actually, I had a. Yeah, I just want to add
on
to that.
Oh, you want to keep going.
I want to add on to that because my thing is, the flaw is still believing in the voting system because you're still not demanding the because to your point, Jay, when I say be our own nation, that includes having your own army. I mean, that includes having your own government to govern yourself. I just don't believe we can have our own city, like say our own Black Wall Street again, but still be up under the control of the U.S. government. Like it had to be a true separation, not just your own neighborhood under the U.S. government. I don't foresee that as true reparations to me. To me, is having our own land. And that if America is home, right, like Marcel say, do you want to stay home and still be under the white man, or do you see it being home and you still want to be friends with him and still running under the U.S. dollar and still running under their system, under their laws? Because to me, true reparations to me is having our own separate nation, separate laws, separate place completely away from the enemy. We can't live in peace with them. We prove that it can happen like that way.
So I can't control what you believe. And I also, if you want to start your own nation, I may come there for vacation, but the America is my homeland, and my nations have 9 people. If it wasn't for Black Americans, like Abraham Lincoln said, the United States would have been defeated. Okay, 200,000 of us not trained, given the worst weapons, no food, put in the most dangerous positions. And Abraham Lincoln said it was because of us that we were able to defeat the Confederacy. Even generals of the Union Army who were anti-Black said the Negro soldiers were the best fighters ever. We can definitely do it. What we have to do is control a region, which is the South for us. We can live wherever we want to live. The truth of the matter is, what is it that white people like the most? Okay, generally speaking, that's power. You got the Democrats and the Republicans. Hold on. Okay. And the Republicans, and both of them want power. The Democrats get desperate whenever they think Black Americans are not satisfied, and they start breaking out the collard greens and the fit fries and the hit prawns, all that little stereotypical stuff. And some of us are not mature enough to realize that's not policies. So what we got to do is get our people to the point where we realize we got to demand policies. We have to run for office and be the people to do those policies. However, the point is, though, both parties recognize that Black Americans help determine who's in power. And as long as they want power, we are people who will be necessary to the system. Hell, if the truth of the matter is this, we need to be the ones at the seat having the power to make the policies. Like I said, I'm not against anyone saying independent nation, but America is my homeland, my nation. And one of the things that we have not done, eminent domain. Most Black Wall Streets were not destroyed by violence, believe it or not. A lot of them were, but a lot of them weren't. For example, in Texas, there was a Black Wall Street in Texas in what is now Houston. The white people came to try to burn it down, and they got killed. The Black men in Houston and went to with their parents. What did they do to find that Black Wall Street? They did something called eminent domain, where the government can just say, we need your act, we're going to fight from you, get out of here. We need to have on policy as freedmen a protected class where they cannot do that in our neighborhood. When they don't get us with the bullet, they get us with the most dangerous weapon there is, with policies. So I'm not against separation, but I'm not leaving America. Not the nation that my people built, protected, sustained. There were 50,000 inventions. So we're going to get reparations right here.
Yeah.
And we're going to be safe right here. Ain't no one afraid of what the white man might do. White racist people are going to do what they've always tried to do to us. And we're going to defeat them and we'll always defeat them. The fact that we're still here is proof that our people before us defeat them and protected their most precious possession. Us.
All right, Black Ice, I know you want to keep up the debate, but we're going to have to wrap this segment up. You can send Marcel a ticket to Black Icelandia once you get
I just want to. I'm trying to get clarification real quick, Jay, because you're kind of saying similar things here. But I'm saying if America is your home, which is fine. If America is your home, is our homeland that we built up, which we did build this country up, but you still asking for a region of it. If you put this whole country up, why are you not asking for the whole country?
Oh no, I'm not asking. No. My plan has us getting enclaves throughout all 50 states. That's a demand. What I'm saying is that we do need to have a region for political purposes. Hispanics have the West and Southwest. Asians have the Northwest. White Americans have the Midwest. The Northeast is pretty diverse. We need to have the South so we can put on code candidates in office easily to get the reparations. That's political strategy.
Yeah.
And every other group is doing it, and we need to do it.
All right, all right, Marcel. You're not gonna be able to convince Black Ice. Black Ice wants Black Icelandia. He wants from California to Maine. Okay, but we appreciate you coming on the lunch break. You've been a fantastic guest. Keep up the good work. Everybody support Marcel Dixon on his next run. Marcel, you want to blast out any URLs or anything?
Sure. MarcelForCongress.com/donate. Listen, the only reason Clyburn won, outside of the fact that there were a lot of stuff showing this election was probably stolen, we'll talk about that on another interview. There's an article about it. Read it. But another reason, though, is I have to be able to reach people with the message, and that takes money. And if I don't have money, I can't reach people with the message. It's just no way to knock on every single person's door. Mass media exists for a reason. So MarcelForCongress.com/donate.
Is that the number 4 or FOR?
That's FOR.
We got our moderator. Our moderator that works in a Nigerian sweatshop put it in the chat. So, all right. So once again, thanks, Marcel. Have a good one. Take care, brother.
I appreciate it.
Man, he cut the man off. He's saying bye.
Yeah. Hey, that was awesome, man. That was really good. He came with the energy. He came with the. How do you feel, Black Ice? You still want Black Icelandia after this?
I still feel like he asked him for policies and not power. That's what I had disagreement about. I do believe in separation. Yeah, and I believe that too. But I feel like he's still saying that you still won't work. you still want to live with the enemy. And then to me, that's not going to work. If it's proven in the past that doesn't work. So
we're on the same celestial body as the enemy.
Yeah,
so
and
no
I'm
matter
saying,
what.
no, what I'm saying is like, okay, you trying to say you want to take over a region and not the whole country. Like you still letting the enemy still be here. Like any other country, when a new regime comes in, what they do with the old regime? That's what I'm saying.
The example you used, Israel, the enemy is still there. They just gave them better guns. But I don't want to hold up our next segment up any longer. So I'm gonna hit y'all with a couple coffee. So I'm bringing on Gak is here. How do you pronounce it? Do you pronounce it Gak or Gas?
Gak.
Soft C, hard C.
Okay,
Gak.
My whole name.
You have it.
Yes.
I have to go back to the Nickelodeon days. So George, there's this Sony is blocking games on Game Pass. This is some allegations going on. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it actually came up as like a result from Microsoft buying Activision. So Activision and Sony are getting into basically a debate with the federal government, because if they buy Call of Duty, they're basically buying the biggest game franchise, which is hitting which is going to hit the bottom line of Sony. So therefore Sony is trying to say like, okay, if you want to put the stuff on our platform, it can't be on any other platform, which is Game Pass. So it's like a little trace war that they're having.
Yeah, I personally, if Microsoft wants to buy everybody up, they have no business getting mad at Sony for blocking games on Game Pass. They want to buy up all these developers. They're going to end up ruining all these great franchises because they don't know what the heck they're doing. They don't know how to run a software company. They got lucky with Windows and Office, and they're going to ruin Xbox. So
I feel that, well, Xbox, like I said in the last program, the Xbox's biggest plan is to be like the Netflix of gaming. Like that's what Game Pass is ultimately be. That they're not trying to be a software company, like a hardware company anymore. Xbox is just basically the brand of Xbox, like iOS, where you need a MacBook or something. Like they're trying to make an Xbox ecosystem, and through that plan, they're just buying up a whole bunch of studios and telling them, okay, make your Call of Duties, make your Activision, make everything that you're supposed to do.
Right. Make sure that they get all the money, kind of like Apple does.
See, the thing is, Microsoft is trying to make a service. They're following that model where everything could be a service, everything could be a subscription, and they want to make gaming a subscription service that's hardware agnostic. It's not going to work. No one that's making AAA games is going to want to put it on a subscription service. So,
well, Sony is actually doing the same thing with the release of Spider-Man on PC. So they're kind of moving towards like platform agnostic, but not as hard as Xbox, where Xbox is really like, okay, we're done with consoles. We're not a gaming console anymore. We're a gaming ecosystem, basically. So you don't necessarily need to buy an Xbox console. You can play it on your PC, you can play it on your phone, you can play it on the cloud, you can play it wherever. As long as you're putting money in our pockets, we don't care where you play. But the thing about that is like Netflix, it's sort of similar to Netflix, where they're producing a lot of crap, but nobody's really like getting that crap. Like it's just crap. Like it's quality control issues, because in order to have a big ecosystem you have to have a lot of product. So therefore a lot of things has to come out. Therefore, quality, like God of War. If God of War came out every year like Call of Duty, it won't be as great as it'll just be another standard hack and slash game.
Yeah, I feel like my 2 cents is I get it, because consoles, you lose money on the actual hardware, you know. So I could see how they want to get out of the hardware business, but I just don't think that these type of services are not going to survive unless you have like a service where it's hardware agnostic, but you're going to pay $60 for a game. In that event, it'll work. But Game Pass is only going to be for B-level titles or something that already made a return on investment. And I personally don't feel like I don't see any problem in it, but I'm a Sony fanboy. Ever since Xbox One, I've been a Sony fanboy. I used to be hardcore Microsoft. I had the first Xbox. I was in the house. But after Xbox One, when they came out with the VCR that just happened to play games, I was like, y'all can have it.
You're converted.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, Sony has been giving exclusives that are just been top tier. Last of Us 1, Last of Us 2 is debatable. Ghost of Tsushima's, Spider-Man, I just mentioned it. They're making Spider-Man 2. They're doing a Wolverine game. They're doing the God of War sequel. And they're really ramping up the exclusive. And they just bought Bungie. They bought Insomniac, which even though Insomniac always worked for Sony, they were never a Sony studio. So now now that like, and it all started with Microsoft. When Microsoft buying id and Bethesda, Sony was like, oh shoot, we might get out the game because a lot of third parties, because as soon as, like, for example, the Outer Worlds 2 is not going to be on PlayStation, and that was a big game for Bethesda and stuff like that.
That game sucked.
So
it was born, so they can have that.
Xbox, so
okay, well, we really appreciate you, George. When's the next game night?
The next game night is actually next week, Friday. It's going to be Rogue Company. It's a free-to-play shooter. Download it, try it out. Make sure you come on the site. We love to have you around. And also, the code is every Friday. Me and my co-host, who's currently not here, Duke, we always play our set of games. Duke is finishing Mass Effect 1, and I just play a random bunch of games. So thank you for having me on. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your day.
See you later. We're trying to get Black Ice on it, but he goes to sleep too early. See you, George.
Facts.
Hey, okay, the final segment of the day. Let's hit y'all with some.
What happened to the raw steak?
You're right. I think it might be some raw steak.
Well, that's the main course. I can't put the main course graphic on. Before we go, man. Hey, where's he at? Old school, man. You need to call up, man. You gonna come with this energy. You gotta. I gave you the link. You gotta get on if you gonna come with this energy. Man.
Look,
hey, bro.
Man, look. If you are gonna come with that smoke, you gotta be ready to take it all the way. It's okay to have
no. Call it 2 minutes or you blocked. What's your area code?
Yeah, you gotta. Hey, old school, man. I love the opinions. But if you're going to come with this level of energy, man, you got to hop on. Yeah, you got to say it with your chest and get online, get your face up on this joint. At least get your voice on here. Right. Especially when you call people tethers. Because this one of the things about this tether, it's like a lot of people created their own akata, okay? Right. Calling everybody tethers because they don't disagree or you find out they come from a different place. Then you're calling them tether. Not everybody's a freaking tether. There's so many people here that are black that are on code that they're not tethers. Tethers are non-black American coons. But since you ran, bro, and that's it. You ran.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to more important topics. You're welcome to come back, but you need to hop on next time you come in with that smoke. Be a real nigga. Be a real nigga about your shit. All right, so. Last segment is the white man's ISIS coder, okay? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because everybody named Mama is getting banned on Twitter. Hold on, they got a comment. Let's see if that's old school. Oh, ran is an understatement. Yeah, G-Mummy, and I also saw you talk about how you kept cheat sheets for your jokes. I saw that.
Jay's taking note.
She got some just for me. Same with Jerry Bun. Jerry Bun can't stop calling me ashy. But to get back on point, everybody is getting banned on Twitter, and there was this Twitter thread going on where if you remember our program from 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Power 106 pull-up. Oh shit, I got all this shit on there. So we talked about the Power 106 pull-up, okay? And the person that started the Power 106 her name was Nowhere Dose. So Nowhere Dose was recently suspended from Twitter, which happens to every black person when they start talking anything on here. And as we can see, one of the posters said, no overdose suspension is putting everyone on a notice. We need to create secondary accounts. And people are saying, this is my second card already. I got permanently suspended. Someone else is like, nah, I got 2 accounts, a clean facing one and one for dirty propaganda purpose. We got black people on here talking about how they have multiple accounts on Twitter.
Right.
When are y'all gonna be tired of making secondary accounts on Twitter, man? There's black alternatives out here.
Right.
Yeah, all you need is one 60 account.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all you need, one 60 account.
But
You should reply. You should apply to everybody in that thread, Jay.
Yeah.
One.
I quote tweeted and I said, "What is it gonna take you to get on a black platform?"
Right.
And I didn't get a response. It's like this is that white man's ISIS coder. Like black people, we are the ones that make these platforms. Remember, who made Clubhouse hot? Who made all these other platforms hot? Who got the best jokes on these things? Who got the best content? It's us. But y'all keep running to these platforms over and over and over and over again, trying to get accepted there. When you got black alternatives, you have a black alternative right here with 6 zeros. And many of these people that are in that comment thread know about 6 zeros. They don't post on 6 zeros. They just make more and more accounts on Twitter, and they're gonna keep talking about this being this perpetual victim status where it's like, I can't collaborate with other black people because every time I talk black, I get banned. It's like, nigga, you could talk to other black people on 6 zeros and plan whatever you're trying to plan without getting banned, and you won't do it. So obviously your goal is not to unite with other black people. You got something to say?
Yeah, well, when you look at the condition of a lot of us is we've been kind of infantilized over the years. And so oftentimes, just like, we use the term white daddy, these black folk want to be on these platforms like Twitter, like Facebook, so that they can be noticed by these white folk. Not because they just want to collaborate with black folk. They want to argue with white folk. They want to convince them. They want to earn their sympathy. They want to be seen. And if the white man ain't on it, they don't want nothing to do with it. And yet they're the main ones that will talk like they are 10 toes down. But always got to be where the white man is. We really should not care about the white man and his opinion.
Yeah, really and that's why we need our own separate nation. When will they learn?
That's what it is. But
I had to put Marcel. I got to bring it back.
but man, we really need to. One big thing that I want to see more in the black community is breaking away from trying to have dialogue with the white man. We've tried to have dialogue for hundreds of years. We've been trying to convince them for hundreds of years. They're not going to give up what they got to be cool with you, because they can be cool with you and treat you like a gum under their shoe, and you'll still come back begging for more. Mm-hmm. We've got to stop that line of behavior and go on 6zeros.net. And have these conversations.
And don't sign up.
Don't just sign up. Post and have these conversations that will actually be able to better black people, keep the conversation black, and push us forward as a people.
Yes, don't just sign up. Post.
Some of y'all is our own nation.
Yeah, exactly. It's a start. It's a start. A lot of y'all, man, won't even give a black-owned platform one post a day. It's like too much to ask, but right. Y'all be on Twitter all damn day with 4 accounts, 5 accounts. The reason why I started 6 zeros is because I got banned on Twitter like 3 times. I was like, you know what? Y'all can have y'all little cesspool. Y'all could have it. I'm gonna make my own, and it's here today. Keith Weston says, salute to Black Ice for keeping that barrel smoking with his point of separation.
Appreciate it, Keith.
For Black Ice.
Somebody gets it.
But no one agree with separation. You be using crazy examples. You be using
No, ain't no crazy examples. To me, us still trying to integrate with the enemy. I'm not trying to beg for like, yo, let me just stay in your neighborhood. I just want my own neighborhood within your city. No,
Man,
if I built it, I want the whole thing.
There is so much smoke within this conversation.
This
is like Mount Vesuvius.
Yes.
We can't unload all of this in just
Yes.
one broadcast, and it's been an hour and 15.
But I do want to say this about Marcel, and I wish I had a chance to tell him this personally, because somebody cut us off. But that's a different story. but I do appreciate Marcel. One thing I do like about him running on the Reparations platform, because it is a conversation now.
Yeah.
And he bringing awareness to it.
Yeah.
So even though I may disagree on how you're going to get those reparations, this is a fact. This is a topic of conversation I had to give props on.
Yeah, because I mean, look, it went as far as being an episode, even though it was written by a white woman,
right?
An episode on Atlanta,
right?
So it goes to show how much of an impact his role in the conversation is having.
Right. This key funny. He toast.
What is this a Hebrew Israelite joke?
No.
I mean, I'm not aware.
Don't hate Jay. Just accept it, bro.
They didn't tell me about the eat toast joke.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm out the loop.
I think he's at work and he's hungry. he's smelling the Mickey D's and he's like, yeah, he's getting hungry. G Mumby says she don't fit the norm. I don't have any accounts. Well, you need to get on 6 zeros. You slipping. And real quick before we sign out, I just want to share something with you guys real quick. Look at this. This is why y'all need to get off of Twitter. We're building our own platform, guys.
This is gonna be clean.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry Buck, can you drop the link to the beta test? So we're currently running a beta test for the 6 Zeros mobile app, and we want anyone and everyone to sign up for the beta test. The form to fill out is only 4 questions. I don't want to put too much friction between you and this mobile app. So you sign up for the public beta test. We'll send you a link. You can download the 6 Zeros mobile app, and then it's very easy to submit feedback. And also, what we're going to do starting next week is Ekis and Black Ice are going to be conducting usability tests. So they're going to ask you how to complete 5 separate tasks, right? And we're going to see how you do that. We're not going to coach you ahead of time. We want to see how intuitive it is for you all to do it. And we're going to use that as feedback to make the app better. Leah, I'll give you, since you said it's looking fly, I'm going to show you around too. Let's go. Look at that. Look at that. Martin Lawrence just keeping it blackety black.
He posts once a day, y'all.
Yeah, so that's the 6 Zeros mobile app. Now you really ain't got a lot of y'all had an excuse like I'm not posting. There's no mobile app. It's here now.
Yeah, it's coming.
You got to find another excuse. Thank you, Leah. Appreciate the that. So parting thoughts, man. We'll start with Chrome Dome over here.
Yo,
you've been sitting on it, man. You've been sitting on it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I appreciate tonight's broadcast. It was a pleasure talking to Marcel and just having the conversation. Because we always said on our own platform, like we're not here for everybody to have the same state of mind here. Because like I said, we both want reparations. We all know we want it for our people. We may have disagreements on how we achieve that, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, I think we both want what's best for our people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I enjoyed the back and forth.
Yeah. It was a really fun conversation. It was good to, I guess, on the point of FBA versus non-FBA, it's a conversation that definitely needs to be had. I think there's more nuance to look into as well, and there definitely needs to be more reaching out across the aisle. As far as people that are non-FBA, not coming to America and acting like you're better than the black folk here. Because at the end of the day, we all share the same skin. We all got the same plight. So, I just hope to see more unity and I guess less tether dropping in the future. Hopefully on both sides we got less tether dropping. less Akatas and less Yankees going around in the black community. Because at the end of the day, we're all black, and we're all
I agree with that. I agree with that, man. I want to hear less tethers. I'm sick of that word already. It's being taken out of context and used inappropriately. And just so you know, we ain't gonna tolerate that. On like if you call it a non-black American coon a tether on 6 zeros, you cool. You just blindlessly flinging it out. Yeah, probably might get warned here or there. You know what I'm saying? We really want an inclusive community for all uncode black people. If you're uncode and you're black and you're a free thinker, 6 zeros is here for you. That mobile app is for you. But my part in thought is just more unity and more action, less talking. Like these
like
dudes on Twitter. Cool. You said what?
Like old school. You know, like a lot of talking, but no action. We invited you to the show.
Facts.
I don't even know what he talking about. This went over my. Is this from like 1995?
No, old school. He came with the smoke, but he disappeared when you sent him the link.
Oh,
yeah.
I erased them out of my head already.
Yeah, this dude got a memory of a goldfish.
I erase irrelevant things. I erase.
Yeah.
If you don't have the testicular fortitude to stand on what you say, you're automatically deleted from my brain. And thank you, Jerry Bun, for posting the link again. I know you're busy crocheting a quilt, but I appreciate you post that link again. But my part in thoughts is more action, less words, man. Mm-hmm. If you can't do the bare minimum, if you can't even support the black people around you, you're just babbling. I want to see us just double down on our efforts, man. And also, let's not be so negative sometimes. Like if we're making incremental progress, let's at least clap and let's push for further progress. Like for instance, the Power 106, the first day there was like 6 people there, the next day it was 25. A lot of people got upset about that. They were like, it's not 2,000 black people out there. At least there was more. Okay, at least there was more. So we're making forward progress. G Mummy said squirrel. I don't know what she's talking about. She needs to take her medication. Jerry Buzz said that's an insult to the goldfish. That's cold-blooded, Jerry. And then I believe because the mayonnaise community hates us equally as black people. That is very true. Mm-hmm. That is very true. And G Mummy, stop saying you're on vacation. You just logged out of Uber Eats, okay? And with that said, we're gonna go to ads. We descend from a line of warriors fighting relentless battles for justice. When the odds are against us, we do not bend, nor do we break. We stand tall and fight hard, for we are 6 0. If you want genuine black conversation that's uncompromised, unfiltered, join 60s.net today.
Jay?
Yes?
I love 6 zeros. I'm so excited there's a site where we can finally talk about black issues.
When's the last time you posted?
Well, you know, the way my phone is set up.
You're clearly not that excited about 6 zeros. Have a great day.
Oh my God. I just know old school needs to come back at the end of the damn broadcast, bro.
Oh, he did? Where's he at?
He's right there.
Bro.
Hey, old school, hop on, man.
Yo, bro, call. Yo, dial in, bro.
You gotta call in, man.
Hey, Cleophas, hop on, man. What's your name? Hey, it's all up, man. Come on.
Yeah, come on, Cletus. I guess that's his name. His name old school. His name probably Cletus or something stupid.
Hey, Cletus. The link to the chat. I'm gonna play the second ad while we wait for you to hop on.
My name is Black Ice.
And I'm Akis.
And we're the Black Narrative. We are a Black First and Hebrew Israelite channel on YouTube that broadcasts live every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every week, we discuss controversial issues and challenge false narratives that are fed to black people through mass media. We share research through videos and encourage uncomfortable conversations amongst the black community. Look up The Black Narrative on YouTube or go to our website, www.theblacknarrative.tv. Shalom.
Bro. bro, why you click the damn
He was
link,
slick.
bro?
He thought he was slick, man.
Yeah, you done slide it in the
Commercial
podcast.
break.
Nah, bro.
Old school, hop on, bro.
Nah, bro.
Oh man, you gotta hop on now, brother.
Oh my god.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
come at
old
I mean,
school, man. Come on,
He
bro.
had that typed up and he waited to the very end to hit enter.
He waited, man.
Nah, you thought
for the
not, bro.
commercial break. He waited till Jay said we're going to commercial.
You came back. You read your shit.
Come on, Clyde, hop on.
Come on, Cletus. Come on, bro. Get this work, bro.
Old school
Oh, my God.
niggas, when you say call up, they're like, I don't know how to work this thing. Like, that's fine. Nigga, you've been on fine the whole episode. Now your phone don't work.
Oh, bro.
Oh no.
I don't know how to send a text message, but nigga, you know how to be on YouTube live.
Right.
You watch?
Oh man.
Dropping comments.
Yeah, over here.
Write essays in the comments. No, bro.
Man.
But to wrap it up, hey, old school. One thing that we have to realize as Black people is we're not always going to agree. As I said, like I think 5 episodes ago, white people got like 100 think tanks. They got like think about all the things they got. They got like NATO, they got the UN, they got the Heritage Foundation, they got the Project for a New American Century. They have all this different hierarchy of ideas.
Yeah.
And they all come together, you know, and they have these mega conferences like the Bilderberg Conference. They got the World Economic Forum. They don't all agree. The World Economic Forum does not agree with like the UN from like kind of global standpoint. They do not always agree. But what they all agree on is that white people is going to be running something. That's what they agree on. White people going to be running it, but they don't agree with how they're going to run it. And that's what you got to understand. You might not agree with what Black Ice is saying, but Black Ice is saying Black people need to be sovereign. We have to be the ability to control our own destiny. We need to have the ability to determine how we want to be. That's a Black man that's saying that. So how is that counter to you? If that offends you,
hell, Malcolm X said it. So you call Malcolm X a Tether Talk?
Right.
Malcolm X said the exact same thing.
Yeah, but he's old school, so he's probably one of them old niggas that work to get him killed.
Oh my gosh, bro.
What? Be comfortable with disagreement. We're never going to be a hive mind. I don't want to be a hive mind with a lot of y'all, but you shouldn't expect us to be a hive mind. You should expect Black people to challenge each other. But as long as we have that common goal, that we have a common enemy, we have a common idea about what we need to do about it, everything else is in the wash. I don't care if you like hats, I don't care if you like fedoras, I don't care if you like wearing suits, I don't care if you like anchovies or avocado toast, I don't care. As long as we are on the same, I don't even care if you like skinny jeans. I like tapered jeans myself, but as long as you ready to ride when it's time to ride, we all good. And with that said, I'm gonna give y'all some jazz music. Have a wonderful night. And old school, you better hop on next time. Stop being a coward, nigga.